There we go. Honestly, not all that great of a show, but hey, it gave us some great toys. Plus, it is appropriate for today's subject.
For today, we're going to talk about Mahotsukai Precure's manga. Yeah, normally I'd like to cover the original anime before I get to the Kamikita Futago's manga adaptation, just so at the very least we could have a little context to the material. But I'm going to make a special exception for this series for a couple of reasons. One, I really want to make some weekly videos during this healing good drought brought upon by the real-life Byogans, so I have to make the best of what I have on hand. And two, among all of their books, I think the Mahotsukai manga is the Kamikita's most divergent Precure adaptation to date. I mean, sure, a lot of their books play very loosely with canon, but there are at least some connections with the original, like referencing the main villain, or tying it to a character's established backstory. Here, though, without spoiling too much just yet, they took a lot of liberties with this one. So much so they could pretty much be considered a standalone work.
As such, I'll approach these books as someone new to this team. Like, even though I've made references to them in the past, I'll treat these characters as though I've never seen them before. This will also let me save up my thoughts regarding the anime series until I actually do review it. I've still got like 2 other series to cover first.
Anyway, as I said, since I also want to get this out within a week's time, we'll cover just the first 2 chapters for today. I might do more chapters next time, no promises, but I'll definitely reserve the last chapter for its own video. Because the thing is, the Precure manga volumes usually have 7 chapters, with the last chapter being more than double the length of other chapters, as they were made specifically for the less restrictive tankobon format versus the magazines the other chapters debuted in. As such, they usually have much more intense stories that I think deserve a lot more analysis, especially these Mahotsukai chapters.
Believe me, these volumes have some awesome 7th chapters, but before we get there, let's first take a look at the first 2 chapters of the Mahotsukai Precure manga and see if the series can hold up on its own, or if they might need some magic reinforcement.
Much like most of these manga covers, the Mahotsukai team here look okay. Kind of a standard group shot, though I think I have a bit of an issue with how the twins draw hands. Like, the shape of the fingers aren't bad or anything, but what's going on here? Is she trying to do the Vulcan hand sign, but ended up doing the inverse, which ironically is even hard to pull off?
Seriously, this is easy, but try to spread your pinky and index finger while keeping these guys stationary, and yeah, not all that easy.
Honestly, I think a much better cover can be found as soon as you open the manga. Now this is awesome. Just so many different colors and shading. I mean, just look at the scales on that dragon. There is just so much going on this 2-page spread that I would say it's an absolute work of art. Now granted, there might be a little too much going on, like the Pegasus and the dragon, as well as the majestic birds like the swans, but also flying penguins who are Pegaton and also what looks like a Pteranodon?
Actually, maybe it's supposed to be Dino Getter 1. Okay, now that would be an awesome crossover.
Oh, and also a bunch of flying sea creatures. Guessing these guys got lost on their way to Fantasia 2000. Regardless, this is some amazing stuff, and if this had been the cover instead, I would have bought like 3 of these books.
どうしても欲しいものってとりあえず同じものが2つ3つ欲しくなんない？
I mean, yeah, I'm actually reading this off of an ebook I bought off of Bookwalker, hashtag not sponsored, but you still get the idea, right?
The manga proper opened with a young girl sweeping up some fallen cherry blossoms, taking note of the fact that only this particular tree had dispersed its petals. She believed it was because some magic had occurred around the area, and sure enough, a low-flying witch proved her hypothesis. The girl introduced herself as Miai Asahina to the young witch who had crashed because of her, but tried to deny the fact.
Oh, I'm sure this won't become an overused running gag.
Apparently, Miai had seen the witch the previous night when, I'm guessing she was reenacting her favorite episode of LWA.
Yeah, give Hime a call if you want the real experience.
No, obviously, she crashed, and Miai located the supposed scene of the crime and believed that the witch would return later, which she did. Of course, she didn't take being called a criminal all that well and even cracked her knuckles.
Only in the Kamikita Futago manga will we see the Precure threatening physical violence against each other.
Mirai claimed that she had learned about mages from her grandmother and had always been fascinated by them. So of course she wanted to see it firsthand, which the young witch reluctantly complied with. She got out her really cheap looking, but I'm sure very easy to mass produce magic wand, and cast a spell to reverse a cherry blossom tree to its original state, resulting in something from a Dr. Seuss book. She tried a few more times and okay, what the hell? Alright, so we got a pencil, a bit of waste of lumber there, a totem pole, and a giraffe? I mean, obviously they're trying to play it up like she's an incompetent mage, but you know, she just created life out of nothing. That's kind of next level stuff there. However, the witch didn't see it that way and tried to run off, but Miai wasn't going to give up on future waifu material. Much to her dismay, she had no choice but to give her a ride. The two passed by some birds and soon encountered a dangerous looking figure which turned out to be just a drone.
Wait, what am I saying? Those things are a nuisance. Let me take care of them.
The two ended up getting into some real trouble when Mirai picked up a baby crow, which didn't sit well with its extended family, and they ended up recreating the first episode of Pokemon. Meanwhile, the civilians on the ground, for whatever reason, didn't notice the two witches being chased by a flock of crows and just thought that the birds were having an aerial battle or something.
Hey, if that's the case, y'all should be terrified. You never know when they're gonna start dive bombing us.
Miai released the baby crow, which did eventually calm the birds down, but not before some of them tried to get some licks in. The witch protected Miai from one such attack, but ended up falling off of her broom as a result. Luckily, Miai managed to rescue her at the last minute. This confused the witch, both because she was risking her life for her, and the fact that her broom shouldn't be flying without her on it. Regardless, Miai wasn't going to let go, and swore that she would protect the girl who risked her life to save hers. Nice words and all, but... Yet, even as they were falling to their doom, the witch couldn't help but feel a strange comfort holding Miai's hand.
Yes, this is just so reassuring that I don't even mind the fact that we're currently falling at terminal velocity. And oh dear God, there's the ground!
However, the two were saved thanks to the magic of their identical pendant shining and decelerating their fall.
Oh, okay. What? Yeah, again, I'm trying to judge this manga on its own merits, so I would just like to point out that we haven't seen these things appear in the story so far, so they feel more than a little out of nowhere.
The young witch agreed with me, but Miai was just thrilled at the fact that she was able to cast her first spell ever. She once again introduced herself to the witch, who in turn finally revealed her name as Liko. Thus, the chapter ended with Liko agreeing to take Mirai with her to the Magic Academy to try and sort all of this out, all the while making this face while having the cute girl on her back. Chapter 2 opened at the School of Magic, with Miai calling her grandmother to explain where she was. She gave the most bare bones description of any school, magical or not, which just made Liko wonder if she was praising them or overtly dissing them.
Yeah, I just wanted to take a quick minute to point out something. Liko just now legit said diss. I mean, I didn't localize that or anything. No, in the original panel, she legit said dissu. I mean, that's just such a Western slang that I'm surprised to see it in Pop Team Epic, much less a Precure property. Just, wow.
Anyway, she got permission from her grandmother to enroll in this school in another dimension because what grandparent would deny such for their grandkid? Oh, and also, Miai's teddy bear was alive now. Yeah, more on that in a bit. Just like a certain wizard, whom I'll save my references for in the actual anime, Mirai ended up attracting the attention of the school's headmaster thanks to acquiring an ultra special magic wand from an old tree. I'm guessing that's also what allowed her to bring life to her teddy bear, Mofurun. Again, I think it would be nice to get some actual build up to this stuff for anyone who just reads the manga. Anyway, as a result of all of this, she was offered the opportunity to enroll in the Magic Academy, which of course Miai gladly accepted. The new magical student, of course, needed to gather up her magical school supplies, so she made her way to the magical shopping arcade.
Shall we?
I already used it up an Obashi clip. Seriously, go look it up. It's a really underrated Gainax anime.
After getting her uniform tailor-made and buying her beginner's broom, which apparently was the same model that Liko was still using, nice customer confidentiality there, dude, she was all set to go. However, Liko wasn't all that thrilled, obviously kind of jealous of Miai's exceptional talents, which she really could have used as she wanted to help out at a big festival nearby. Said festival turned out to be one for Hinamatsuri, aka Girls' Day. For those unaware, it's that holiday from that one episode of Pokemon where Jessie's Lickitung first debuted. As the name suggests, it's a day that celebrates young ladies by mostly breaking out a big display of oriental dolls. And yet, the holiday takes place on March 3rd, 3-3, and yet it was nearing April according to Mirai. Apparently, some sort of troubles had been delaying the event up until this point.
Oh, something delayed a big public event back in March, did it? Man, I always end up picking the timeliest review material, don't I?
Actually, the thing that was getting in the way of their festival didn't come from China, at least I think, because this Picagoro cloud does kind of look like a Chinese knockoff of Crackle. Liko tried to join the crowd in fending off the living storm cloud, but that didn't work out so well. Believing that she was truly good for nothing, Liko was about ready to give up, but of course, her new friend wasn't going to have any of that, stating that she wanted to celebrate this festival just as much as her, and with that, their pendants once again glowed, transforming them into the titular superheroines of this manga. Liko was naturally surprised at this turn of events, but was even more surprised by how hot her transformed partner had become.
Yes, we hear you. Just let me finish this review.
Anyway, the two engaged the Picagoro cloud, and while fight scenes aren't usually their forte, I will say this is probably the most detailed fight scene I've ever seen drawn by the Kamikita Futago. We actually got to see them dodging attacks while Liko pointed out this evil storm cloud's preferences. Yeah, they're just trying to foster meme material, aren't they? They even included something that looked like an attack that seemed to drive away the evil cloud, but nope, it just needed a second to turn into Storm Dragon. And since this monster can't be destroyed by battle, the Precure needs to figure out a new strategy. Miai came up with one, which turned out to be
For the last time, we did not order a giant trampoline.
I never thought I'd be able to use that clip, but I'm happy I was able to.
Sure enough, it actually worked and sent the cloud flying into the atmosphere where it likely dispersed into nothing.
Between this and Yuko, we can never really say that the Precure can't be brutal.
僕はそっちなんですおいで
And with that, the chapter ended with the festival proceeding as planned, Liko feeling like she had finally contributed to something, and Mirai declaring that they would become stronger together. Nicely put in everything, though Liko still couldn't quite link the hot witch she was fighting alongside a minute ago with this toad ditch she's currently holding hands with.
So those were the first two chapters of the Mahotsukai Precure manga, and again, while I don't want to go over every little change between this and the anime, I do want to point out it's kind of obvious that they made a lot of changes, which in of themselves aren't a bad thing, but they do cause at least a few issues.
Even non-anime viewers could probably tell stuff like Mofun and Miai's enrollment in the Magic Academy have been significantly streamlined. Though, while that is off-putting, it's at least not confusing, partly thanks to the fact that this is a far less plot-driven narrative than the anime. The Kamikita Futago know that they're only going to get 2 volumes worth of stories for each season, so they often go with more fun slice-of-life stories, which these certainly are. In fact, I'd say these chapters had some of their best comedy, with great facial expressions, slang that I thought I'd never see in Precure, and one of the best comedy fights I've ever seen. Again, these twins can't really draw fights all that great, but when you remind me of one of my favorite movies of all time, you get a pass.
But will they be able to continue this fairly strong momentum going into the following chapters? Well, come back next time where we'll see how many chapters I end up covering. I'm still trying to get used to this whole weekly quarantine video format, but regardless, look forward to it. And until then though, farewell for now my friends, and... Ah, jeez, they blew away my background. I'll take care of this.